we're going to bring in Daniel Stencil. He's the executive officer of the Oakland County Parks and Recreation Commission. Thank you for being with us on the Oakland County MegaCast.
My pleasure. Glad to be here.
You have to have one of the coolest jobs, but I see you're in an office. Do you get out into the parks very often?
Yes, as often as I can, and I actually live. My backyard is adjacent to Independence Oaks, one of our premier parks.
Well, that's nice. We all need to be outdoors enjoying the weather that we've had, which has been so beautiful. Give us an update on the parks. I would imagine usership, if that's a word, how we would say it, is really increased during all of this.
It's we've seen a significant uptick, especially in the months of March, April, and May. Many of our parks saw visitation that resembled the middle of July. Unfortunately, we had to make some decisions very early on with the COVID situation where we knew we were going to have trouble maintaining social distance as well as being able to get enough staff to operate our facilities. So unfortunately, very early on in the spring, we closed our two water parks. And lifeguards are a commodity that is in very sharp decline in high demand. So anything that you and your viewers could help us with recruiting and making people aware that the county needs lifeguards and part-time staff to operate its facilities. We have about 75 full-time staff, but we totally rely upon 700 to 800 part-time seasonals to actually operate our golf courses, our dog parks, our food and beverage operations, etc.
Wow. And I know that it's been hard for a lot of restaurants and retail establishments to get employees, but I would think the parks, that's like one of the best part time jobs. You get to be outside. Plus, you have so many college kids right now that aren't returning to their college campuses because they're allowed to take classes remotely, but that's not helping you in your employment crisis, then, huh?
No, not really. Actually, college students with some of the campuses opening up and then students moving in and then getting quarantined and so on. So that was significant with the reduction of the number of staff people that we were able to attract for hiring.
One of my absolute favorite things to do on the weekend is to go to the Oakland County Farmers Market. I've seen it change so much through the years, but I know that this year things have had to be scaled back a bit than even over the last year or 2 years prior. How are things going over at the farmers market? It seems like they're still pretty busy over there.
Oh, extremely. We're exceptionally proud of our staff and the general public and our vendors for thinking on their feet as to, we never did close the farmers market, even in the height of the COVID pandemic. We kept it open. We set up systems for minimizing social distancing issues, and we have seen tremendous attendance all year. And that in 2012, we assumed the management of the farmers market, and over time we've invested time and monies to increase its reception to the public. Back prior to our management, there wasn't a place where you could sit down. There wasn't a place where you could get a cup of coffee or something to eat. We even have entertainment, not this year, but we've had entertainment in the past and programs that are held by the health department or Michigan State Extension for public education, as well as we've even had a collaboration with the Sheriff's Office to shred documents, and the last one is this Friday from 9 until 11. So there's a lot of activity going on at the farmers market, and it's a great place to meet friends and family.
It's absolutely one of my favorite things to do on the weekends, although my husband hates it when I'm like, baby, get up. After he worked the night shift on a Friday, and I want him to get up and go to the farmers market with me. But I used to jump between Oakland counties and Royal Oak, and then with Royal Oak having so much construction this year, and it seems like their vendors are down, I've even stopped going there and just focused on Oakland County. What's it been like for your vendors, and what's the competition amongst farmers markets to be able to get the vendors? But I did notice, especially more so in the beginning, it looked like their supplies were pretty low in the beginning of the season.
And that may be true. And there was some confusion over, what limitations the vendors would be put to. But the one thing with the vendors have been very resilient and very cooperative to work with us. In terms of product and so on, it seems like we have had good product throughout the year. Just one history lesson: the Royal Oak market actually was a county facility up until I think the 80s or early 90s. So the county had two farmers markets at that time.
See, we learn something new every day on the Oakland County MegaCast, so we appreciate that. Let's talk a little bit about the parks. Sometimes I think people get confused over which ones are your local parks versus which ones are county, but I would imagine because things are a little bit scaled back this year, is that also giving you a little bit of free time to kind of catch your breath and make improvements to the parks?
Well, you bring up a great topic. We are blessed in Oakland County to have 90,000 acres of publicly held land and have the Michigan Department of Parks and Recreation, as well as here in Clinton, Metro Parks, the county parks, and then 62 units of government with their different types of park opportunities. So we try to operate in I call it a systems approach. We're not so concerned about people necessarily knowing that Oakland County Parks provides this, that, and whatever. It's more important for our residents to have all of these wonderful facilities, services, and programs available to them, provided by a multitude of providers.
Our apologies to Daniel Stencil, Executive Officer for the Oakland County Parks and Recreation Commission. We ran into a few technical difficulties and had to cut our interview a little bit short, but you can catch the rest of his interview on civiccentertv.com, as well as other content from today's broadcast, as well as other interviews from previously. This has been the Oakland County MegaCast.